The rain began without warning. Iris Holloway clutched her portfolio against her chest and quickened her pace down Fifth Avenue, cursing herself for not checking the weather forecast. Her interview at Ashford Ventures was in 15 minutes, and she could not afford to arrive looking like a drowned cat. At 26, she had spent 3 years working at a struggling independent bookstore, watching her dreams of a publishing career slowly dissolve into the reality of minimum wage and mounting student loans. This interview was her chance, an executive assistant position that could open doors she had thought permanently closed. She was mentally rehearsing her answers about organizational skills when disaster struck. Her heel caught on a rain-slicked grate, snapping clean off her sensible pump. Iris pitched forward with a startled cry, her portfolio flying from her grasp, her body hurtling toward the unforgiving pavement. She never hit the ground. Strong arms caught her mid-fall, pulling her against a solid chest that smelled of expensive cologne and rain-dampened wool. For a dizzying moment, Iris found herself staring up into the most striking gray eyes she had ever seen. "Are you all right?" The voice was deep, cultured, with an undertone of genuine concern that somehow made her heart race faster than the near fall had. Yes, my heel," Iris stammered, acutely aware that she was essentially embracing a complete stranger on a Manhattan sidewalk. The man steadied her carefully, his hands lingering at her waist longer than strictly necessary. He was tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Dark hair, sharp jaw, those impossibly gray eyes that seemed to see straight through her. "Your shoe is destroyed," he observed, glancing at the broken heel. "And you appear to be in a hurry." "I have an interview." Iris stepped back, mortified, and nearly stumbled again on her uneven footwear. "At Ashford Ventures. In 12 minutes. Which I am now going to miss because I cannot walk, and I look like a disaster, Anne." "Ashford Ventures?" Something flickered in his expression, amusement, perhaps, or something more complex. "Yes. Executive assistant position." Iris bent to retrieve her scattered portfolio, painfully aware of her disheveled appearance. "Not that it matters now. They will take one look at me, Anne. My car is right there." He gestured toward a sleek black vehicle idling at the curb. "I can drive you. I cannot just get into a stranger's car." "Gabriel Ashford." He extended his hand with a slight smile. "I believe that makes me slightly less strange, given your destination." Iris's stomach dropped. Gabriel Ashford. The Gabriel Ashford. Billionaire founder of Ashford Ventures, featured in Forbes and Bloomberg and every business publication she had researched before applying. The man she had just tumbled into like a complete disaster was her potential employer. Oh God! The words escaped before she could stop them. "This is not happening. I assure you it is." His smile widened slightly. "Now, shall we? You mentioned time constraints." The car interior was warm and dry, all leather seats and subtle luxury. Iris sat rigidly, clutching her damp portfolio, acutely aware of her broken shoe and rain-frizzed hair. "I am so sorry," she managed. "I did not know who you were." "Would it have changed the trajectory of your fall?" Despite herself, Iris laughed. "Probably not. Gravity does not care about social hierarchies." Gabriel's gray eyes warmed with what looked like genuine amusement. "An interesting philosophy. Tell me, Miss Holloway." "Iris Holloway." "Miss Holloway. Why do you want to work at my company? Is this the interview? Consider it a preliminary screening." "You have," he checked his watch, 7 minutes before we arrive." Iris took a breath, steadying herself. This was insane. She was conducting a job interview in a billionaire's car while wearing a broken shoe and looking like a wet cat. But she had prepared for this. She knew her strengths. "I want to work at Ashford Ventures because you invest in ideas that matter. Not just profitable ventures, meaningful ones. The literacy app you funded last year, the sustainable packaging startup, the minority business initiative. She met his eyes directly. I spent 3 years watching small businesses struggle because no one believed in them. Your company believes in potential. I want to be part of that. Gabriel studied her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. You researched thoroughly. I research everything thoroughly. It is one of my strengths. Along with surviving falls and improvising interviews in moving vehicles. Those are more recent additions to my skill set. The car stopped. They had arrived. Gabriel exited first, then opened her door, a gesture that seemed both old-fashioned and surprisingly natural. The building has a small boutique in the lobby, he said. Tell them to charge replacement shoes to my account. Then proceed to the 18th floor for your interview. Mr. Ashford, I cannot accept. Consider it compensation for using you as an unwitting participant in my preliminary screening. Something softened in his expression. You gave an excellent answer, Miss Holloway. I suspect you will give excellent answers upstairs as well. He disappeared through the building's glass doors, leaving Iris standing on the sidewalk with a broken shoe and a racing heart. She had fallen into a billionaire's arms. And somehow, impossibly, she suspected her life was about to change forever. Iris got the job. She told herself it had nothing to do with Gabriel Ashford, that her qualifications and interview performance had earned the position. But doubt lingered as she settled into her new role as executive assistant to the company's CEO. Working closely with Gabriel was intoxicating and torturous in equal measure. He was demanding, meticulous, and utterly professional. He never referenced their rain-soaked collision or the electricity that had crackled between them. He treated her like any other employee, efficient, courteous, and maddeningly distant, but Iris caught him watching her sometimes. Brief glances when he thought she was focused on her computer. The way his jaw tightened when she leaned across his desk to point out something in a document. The almost imperceptible pause before he said her name. 3 weeks into her employment, Gabriel summoned her to his office. I have a corporate function this Saturday, he said without preamble. The annual Ashford Foundation Gala. I require a companion. Iris blinked. Sir? My usual approach is attending alone, but this year's event involves several potential investors who respond better to, he paused, searching for words, perceived stability. A date suggests groundedness. You want me to pretend to be your girlfriend? I want you to accompany me as my guest. The specifics of our relationship need not be defined. His gray eyes met hers. You would be compensated additionally, of course. And provided appropriate attire. This seems outside standard assistant duties. It is. Something flickered in his expression. You may refuse without professional consequence. I am asking, not demanding. Iris should have said no. Every rational instinct screamed that blurring professional boundaries with her billionaire boss was dangerous territory. Yes, she heard herself say. I will go. The gala transformed the Plaza Hotel into a wonderland of crystal and candlelight. Iris wore a midnight blue gown Gabriel's stylist had selected, elegant, sophisticated, nothing like anything she had ever owned. Gabriel's sharp intake of breath when he saw her made every nervous flutter worthwhile. You look, he stopped, visibly collecting himself. Appropriate for the occasion. Appropriate? Iris raised an eyebrow. Such effusive praise. Beautiful. The word emerged rough, almost involuntary. You look beautiful, Iris. Hearing her first name on his lips sent warmth flooding through her chest. The evening was magical. Gabriel introduced her to investors and socialites, his hand resting at the small of her back with proprietary warmth. They danced together, his body close enough that she could feel his heartbeat through his tuxedo jacket. You are enjoying yourself, he observed during a slow waltz. I am surprised you noticed. You have been working the room all evening. I notice everything about you. The confession was quiet, meant only for her ears. I have noticed everything since you fell into my arms on that sidewalk. Gabriel, this was a mistake. His voice was strained. Bringing you here. Seeing you like this. I cannot maintain professional distance when you look at me that way. What way? Like you want the same thing I want. The music ended. Gabriel guided her through the crowd, down a corridor, into a private alcove away from watching eyes. Tell me to stop, he said, crowding her against the wall. Tell me this is inappropriate, and I will walk away. I do not want you to stop. His kiss was everything their first meeting had promised, electric, consuming, months of suppressed tension finally released. Iris gasped against his mouth as his hands framed her face, tilting her head for better access. This complicates everything, he murmured between kisses. I know. I do not care. He kissed her deeper. God help me, I do not care. They returned to the gala separately, both disheveled and breathless. But fundamental had shifted, the professional distance was gone, and neither of them wanted it back. Their secret relationship bloomed behind closed office doors. Stolen kisses between meetings. Lingering glances across conference tables. Late nights that began as work and ended in Gabriel's penthouse, tangled in sheets that cost more than Iris's monthly salary. But secrets in corporate environments never stay hidden. The gossip started within weeks, whispers about the assistant who had caught the CEO's, speculation about how she had really gotten her job. Iris pretended not to hear, but the words stung. Then Penelope Ashworth returned. Gabriel's ex-girlfriend was everything Iris was not: old money elegance, society connections, the kind of polished beauty that graced magazine covers. She swept into Ashford Ventures like she owned the place, her designer heels clicking imperiously on marble floors. Gabriel, darling. Penelope air-kissed his cheeks while Iris watched from her desk. I heard you were attending the Foster benefit. We should go together, like old times. I have other plans. Surely nothing that cannot be adjusted. Penelope's gaze slid to Iris with calculated dismissal. Is this your new assistant? How quaint. The interaction set the tone for weeks of warfare. Penelope appeared at every event Gabriel attended, positioning herself for photographs, implying renewed intimacy to reporters. She visited the office frequently, always with excuses that required Gabriel's personal attention. She wants you back, Iris said flatly one evening in Gabriel's penthouse. I do not want her. She does not seem to accept that. Penelope wants my name, my money, my social position. She never wanted me. Gabriel pulled Iris close. You see me, not the billionaire, not the company. Just me. Do you understand how rare that is? The confrontation came at the Metropolitan Museum Gala. Iris accompanied Gabriel openly for the first time, a statement that sent shockwaves through society circles. She wore crimson silk that made her feel powerful, her hand tucked securely in Gabriel's elbow. Penelope intercepted them near the champagne fountain. Gabriel, I see you brought your secretary. Her smile was venomous. How democratic of you. Though I imagine she cleans up well when someone else pays for her clothes. Iris's cheeks burned with humiliation. Tell me, Penelope continued loudly enough for nearby guests to hear, did you earn this invitation the same way you earned your job? On your back? The crowd fell silent. Gabriel's expression transformed into something terrifying, cold fury barely contained behind civilized facade. Penelope. His voice was ice. You have precisely 3 seconds to apologize before I destroy every social connection you possess. Gabriel, really? 2 seconds. You cannot be serious. She is a nobody. She is the woman I love. The declaration rang through the silent ballroom. And you have just made a very expensive enemy. He guided Iris away, leaving Penelope standing in humiliated isolation. You did not have to do that, Iris whispered. Yes, I did. Gabriel's arm tightened around her. I should have done it weeks ago. I will never let anyone hurt you again. The penthouse felt different that night. Gabriel had defended her publicly, declared his love before Manhattan's elite. The implications were enormous. Their relationship was no longer a secret, no longer deniable. Are you all right? He asked, pressing a glass of wine into her trembling hands. I think I am still processing. Iris set down the glass untasted. You said you loved me. I did. In front of everyone. Yes. Gabriel sat beside her, his expression vulnerable in ways she had never witnessed. I should have said it privately first. I apologize for the poor timing. Do you mean it? More than I have ever meant anything. He took her hands. Iris, I have spent my entire life building walls. My mother abandoned me when I was 7, left for a younger man and never looked back. My father responded by teaching me that emotions were weakness, that trust was liability. Gabriel. Penelope confirmed every lesson. I thought I loved her once. She was beautiful, sophisticated, everything society expected. But she wanted the Ashford name, not me. When I discovered she had been seeing someone else, using me as a stepping stone to better prospects, I swore I would never be vulnerable again. Then I fell into your arms. Literally. His smile was soft. You were soaked and disheveled and completely unimpressed by who I was. You talked about ideas and potential and meaningful work. You saw me as a person, not a portfolio. I still see you that way. I know. He cupped her face. That is why I love you. That is why I will spend the rest of my life proving I deserve you. Their kiss began tenderly but quickly deepened. Weeks of secret meetings had built hunger that demanded satisfaction. Gabriel lifted her effortlessly, carrying her toward the bedroom. Tell me to stop. Never. Iris pulled him closer. I want all of you. They made love with passionate intensity, finally free from secrets and stolen moments. Gabriel worshipped her body with hands and lips, whispering adorations that made her tremble. Iris surrendered completely, trusting him with vulnerabilities she had hidden from everyone. You are extraordinary, he breathed against her skin. Every day, I discover new reasons to be grateful you fell into my life. Technically, I fell into your arms. Same result. He smiled against her throat. The best accident of my existence. Afterward, tangled in silk sheets with city lights glittering beyond floor-to-ceiling windows, Iris finally understood what love felt like. Not the desperate longing she had imagined as a girl. Something steadier. Something real. The hostile takeover attempt came without warning. Sterling Industries, a rival firm, had been quietly acquiring Ashford Ventures stock for months. By the time Gabriel discovered the threat, they controlled enough shares to force a board vote on new leadership. Someone inside the company is feeding them information, Gabriel said grimly, reviewing reports in his office. They knew exactly when to strike, which investors to approach. Iris stayed late every night, combing through communications and financial records with determination born of love. She had seen what this company meant to Gabriel, not just wealth, but legacy and purpose. The breakthrough came at 2 a.m. Gabriel. Iris burst into his office, clutching printed documents. I found it. The leak. The evidence was damning, emails between Sterling's CEO and someone using a personal account. But the writing style, the specific knowledge revealed, pointed to someone intimate with Gabriel's inner circle. It is Penelope. Iris spread the documents across his desk. She has been meeting with Sterling executives for months. The attack is not just business, it is personal revenge. Gabriel's expression hardened as he reviewed the evidence. She always did have difficulty accepting rejection. The board meeting became a battlefield. Gabriel presented Iris's evidence methodically, exposing Penelope's conspiracy with devastating precision. Sterling's representatives attempted to dismiss the findings, but the documentation was irrefutable. The takeover failed. Penelope's society reputation crumbled. Sterling Industries faced legal consequences for corporate espionage. "You saved my company," Gabriel said afterward, standing with Iris in his empty office. "I protected what matters to you. You matter to me." He pulled her close. "More than any company. More than any success. You believed in me when everyone else saw only dollar signs. Gabriel. Come with me. I need to show you something." He drove them through Manhattan's evening traffic to an unremarkable sidewalk near Fifth Avenue. Rain was falling gently, just like the day they met. "This is where you caught me," Iris said softly. "This is where my life changed." Gabriel turned to face her, producing a small velvet box. "I have built empires, Iris. I have achieved everything society measures as success. But I never understood what any of it meant until you literally fell into my arms." He knelt on the rain-dampened pavement. "Iris Holloway, you taught me that vulnerability is strength. You showed me that trust is not liability but gift. You saved my company, my heart, my ability to believe in something beyond profit margins." He opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring. "Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her face, mingling with raindrops. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." Gabriel slid the ring onto her finger and rose to kiss her, right there on the Manhattan sidewalk where everything began. Their wedding was held 6 months later at the Plaza Hotel, the same venue where Gabriel had first declared his love publicly. Iris wore ivory silk, her face radiant with joy she had never expected to find. Gabriel's vows made everyone weep. "I spent years believing love was weakness. Then you stumbled into my life, quite literally, and proved that love is the only strength worth having. I vow to catch you every time you fall, support every dream you chase, and thank my lucky stars daily for broken heels and rain-slicked sidewalks." Iris's response was simpler but equally powerful. "You caught me when I was falling. You saw me when I felt invisible. You chose me when you could have had anyone. I vow to remind you every day that you are more than your name, more than your money, you are the man I love, and that is the greatest treasure either of us will ever possess." They sealed their vows with a kiss as guests applauded. Later, dancing at their reception, Gabriel whispered in her ear. "Any regrets about that broken heel?" Iris smiled against his shoulder. "It was the best accident of my life." "Mine too." He held her closer. "Mine too. Some love stories begin with